It's 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Roll call. Everybody will be here except for Heidi and Randy. Rick is running a little bit late, I think, but he plans on attention.
He will be here. He was thinking he might be about 10 minutes late.
Okay, good. Number 3, additions to the agenda. Linda sent that out to you in the packet. Should be that hyperlink there. Should be number 4C. 7 through 9.
They're all personnel items.
Yep.
It's just finishing off as far as some support staff for the upcoming school year.
Okay.
I'll make a motion we approve the agenda.
So go ahead.
I'll second.
I got a motion from Bruce and a second from Cheryl. Any other further discussions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and carried. Public comment. Anybody here for public comment? No?
I received none.
Okay, thank you. Consent agenda. Consent agenda is fairly long. We have items A through C with the minutes, financials, with the bills and the treasurer's report. Cheryl, did you get the opportunity to come in and see the visit with the
Yes, I did.
bills?
Everything has been pre-approved or business as usual. I noticed the Chromebooks, the bill came in for the Chromebooks that we added to the lineup, and the phone systems are in and functioning, I believe, the new ones.
Close.
Close?
We're real close.
Close.
Arvig is actually coming out to install some equipment at the end of the week.
Okay.
And then we will just be waiting for Windstream to port numbers over and stuff, but we're getting very close.
Good.
Upgrades to some of the tech areas. Office renovations at the secondary school. The bills have been coming in for that. And the elementary bathroom upgrades. And I took time to walk down and check those out, and they look great. Other than that, I mean, those were all pre-approved, but I just noticed those in the bills.
Oh, good,
Looking good.
good.
I would move that we approve.
Okay. Treasurer's report, is there anything out of the norm right for the first few days of your?
No, and the only other thing that's in there is the high school roofing project is coming through as well. There's another bill that was in this bunch of bills, and I believe there's another large one that'll be at our next meeting as well. So that's winding down and coming to closure as well.
For the advisory contracts, is that, we can kind of see that like that? If we're going to just kind of,
The plan with that advisory contract, when we get to winter now, I'm suspecting in October, before the November start date of those, you will see that spreadsheet again. You'll see that fall has the approved date that the board approved those. You'll see the year-long assignments have an approved date on them.
Okay.
And then it will be the winter that will be filled out. The board will act on the winter, I'm assuming in October.
Okay.
And then we'll put the approved date on there as well. Spring, I'm assuming you guys would see in February, would be my hunch.
okay, all right. We're just, like I said, it's just a little bit different than we
I
used to see it,
understand.
but that's good.
I understand.
First initial.
Do you want me to run through the others?
Sure.
Della Anderson, her contract is the sub-calling, so ASAP will go live October 1, and so Della will continue to call subs for the month of September. The resignation for Amber Kern, paraprofessional resignation, then a paraprofessional contract for Rick Hendrickson, leave request from Lisa Stang, and then it is just the summary of the pause school year employees, what we are looking at for their potential hours each week.
And then the additions.
And the additions, thank you. The additions are the last of the personnel items. There are 2 paraprofessional hires, Sheila Cash and Betty Schmidt, and then the rest of those are all food service. The total hours of food service employment is staying the same, even though Lynn is increasing her hours from 4.5 to 6, though that is being made up in the 2 new positions are going from 3.75 to 3. And so it ends up being a wash as far as the total food service hours.
Good. So that's your consent agenda. As most consent agendas, we approve everything at once, so I would like to entertain a motion for that.
Motion to approve.
And motion from Lou,
I'll second.
Second from Cheryl. Any other further discussions? Hearing none, all in...
I want to add one discussion, just real quick.
Oh, sure.
The advisory contracts, I love that Excel sheet.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that kind of cool?
You were talking about it earlier, but it wasn't appropriate, but now I have to say I like that.
Good. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and carried. Communications items.
I have just a couple of items. First of all, obviously, it's back to school week and staff is back. It's been wonderful the last couple of days, especially to work closely with the high school staff. It's energizing because of the excitement and the openness and willingness to look at things and potentially look at some options in evaluating what we're doing and how things are going. So the last couple of days have been extremely positive in my opinion. I certainly hope others feel the same way. But yesterday we had the pleasure of having Adam Welcome out and to do kind of a kickoff and stuff. And his message, I think, was right on and really hit home for a lot of people. And so I think it was an exceptional way to kick off the school year and stuff. The only other communication I have is I just want to let the board know that the MSBA Leadership Conference in January, they're going to start sending stuff out. I know we have some board members not running, and so I know we're going to have new board members. So I just want the board to be aware that my intention when that stuff comes out is to get the board registered for that, and the new members, I will hold 4 spots. I think even with the election and when those board members take office in January, we'll still have time if that doesn't work with their schedule or something. But I am planning on having space for all 7 board members to go to the leadership conference. So I just wanted to make sure the board was aware that that was kind of how I was going to operate with that. So,
Is the first board meeting in January going to be before the MSB meeting? Because I know that has not been in the past.
I have to look.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know that off the top of your head?
Typically it is not, but at the December meeting, you could set the January meeting
Okay.
earlier.
Sure.
It's just that we do that. Yeah, well, we can make it earlier. We might have to have 2 if we don't have the bills ready, or
Okay. I was just...
getting it done that early.
Sure.
That would be the only thing.
We'll look into it as we get
Okay.
closer.
Okay,
But
just...
all right, that's what I have.
Okay. All right. Nobody else's?
Yes. everyone
Okay.
is,
Okay, elementary principal, David Orline? Are they all
You got a full docket. Yep.
Okay. Okay, I
Sorry.
didn't-
Hello.
Hello?
Just want to start off by piggybacking off of what Mr. Bullard said about yesterday. Just a really, I would say, listening to Mr. Bullard speak to start off the meeting was awesome. Did a great job. And I thought Adam Welcome worked with our staff. He was in both buildings, and just a lot of really good dialogue. And at the end of the day, before he had to rush off to the airport, he spoke to the cross-country team for a little bit. And so that was really a nice thing of him to do. We have a lot of stuff going on. It's been really busy with new math curriculum and PBIS and just makerspace stuff. And so we are going to have a meeting tomorrow, and we're going to take things slowly, and as we look at these new initiatives, we want to make sure that we're doing them, at the right pace, and that we're really taking the steps so that when we implement something that we're fully aware of what we need to be doing. So that'll be kind of exciting for the beginning of the school year. Tomorrow, we have open house from 5 to 7:30, and part of our playground fundraising is we are going to be hosting a community picnic from 4:30 to 6:30 in the front lawn of the elementary school. And we have we have a list of volunteers working different shifts, and so if you're interested in attending or volunteering, I did share that Google document with you if you're interested. If you can stop by for a little bit and have a hot dog, and everything is going to be a free will donation, and all proceeds will go to the playground committee. With that, a little update on the playground. We really had a good fundraising campaign with the color run and some of the grants that we've been getting and donations from businesses and families. The progress has been a little slow. It's taken us some time to okay the quote from the company that we're going with. We spent a lot of time looking at different equipment to make sure that we were creating something that was accessible to students of all ages, disabilities, to make it a community atmosphere when you're there. Tomorrow we are going to start doing a little bit of the taking some of the old border out and a couple pieces of equipment that are no longer in use, and so that will be a start, and we're waiting right now to get the start date from the company, but we do plan on completing what we had planned on this fall. So we're just going to try to be really careful to work around the school days and make sure that we're not closing the playground down for a long period of time. If we have to close it down, we will have a plan of activities that our students will be doing at recess to make up for that, kind of like we would do in the spring when we have to be in the parking lot for a few days. So that's where we are. Tomorrow, if you come to the picnic, we'll have something like a billboard set up, which will have some of the drawings of what the playground is going to look like and some pictures of the equipment, and then a little diagram of the money that we've raised and how much further we need to go. So it's exciting. We're hoping that we can serve a lot of our families who are coming in. It's supposed to be really nice out, so we're really excited about that. So it'll be fun. Any questions for me?
Nope.
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Community Ed Director.
All right,
Matt?
good evening. Passing out the brochure that since our last meeting has been sent out. Many new activities and programs this year. David mentioned about the maker space. We're really excited for that with Community Ed too, and that Fab Lab discussion, just all the more opportunities to utilize for the community. Just an update on preschool. We ended up filling up our 3-year-olds with 26. 3-year-old preschool plus, we just have 4 of those students being there all day. 4-year-old, we're at 59 kids with 1 open slot left, and we have 36 of the 4-year-olds that'll be there all day long. So, yeah, program's going strong there. The fitness center had a good summer. It was the most usage we've had by our students in the history of our being open 17 years, so that was great seeing and I'm sure Max is going to talk more about that and has reported, but that program that they did, great usage there. They continued all summer. Pause, we're at 67 already so far and still taking registrations. So, any questions for me?
If your preschool gets full, do you turn people away?
Yeah, we start a waiting list, and there's some ebb and flow there with that, so.
Have you had to turn very many away?
We've actually we haven't turned anybody away. We've actually had a waiting list a couple times this fall, and then we've had people move out and kind of, so it's worked out, so. But in the past, we have not had to turn people away, so, yeah.
Good. Great job.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Activities Director and Dean of Students. Max.
Well, we're kind of in full swing. Tonight is first cross-country meet of the year. It was supposed to be last night because of a wet course and weather that was postponed until today. Volleyball's actually playing tonight and did yesterday and Saturday as well. And we have our first home football game on Friday, first regular season game. A couple things that are coming up. CentraCare had approached me about doing it's called the Impact Study, which is a pre-screening concussion test, and they're going to come in and partner with our health classes. And the plan right now is to do all 6th through 10th graders, and for free. And so what they're going to do, if you're unfamiliar, is the students take a test or an assessment through a computer, which is it's called a baseline test. And basically it's just, this is what your brain is when it's healthy. They do something, and if they ever would have a head injury, then they use that test to assess if their brain has recovered to the capacity that it does. We do that with our varsity level athletes, but they're going to do it in conjunction with the health classes, and then that's going to be part of their curriculum, which the health teachers already do. And so we're just trying to work out logistics with the scheduling of when that will work to get them in, but we're excited about that. I think, as already been mentioned, some of the workshop stuff, I think from my standpoint, the thing that I took away with the most is that engaged students in the classroom is the best discipline approach that there is. And it was exciting to hear conversations about critically thinking about why we do some of the things that we do in the classroom. And they, I guess there was a concept of a yard sale, meaning that you basically, everything's potentially for sale. Could you sell it? Would you maybe sell it? Or no, we can't get rid of that because we need that. And so I think that's an exercise that that the district is going to be looking at doing holistically from all of what we have. That was exciting. Just working on making sure that we got all the supervision covered when school starts for evening activities as well as during the day. The office remodel stuff is pretty much complete. There's some furniture in the lobby area that's to be purchased, and then we are still waiting, and I have been told on Monday anyways by the company that the buzz-in controllers will be moved. Right now they're not at our receptionist desk, they're still in the old area, and so we need to get those moved, obviously, otherwise the buzz-in system isn't very functional. But that's supposed to be done this week, and so we'll just keep in conversation to make sure that happens. One item that I want just to make you aware of, we're waiting on, it's actually tomorrow night, Piers' school board is going to make a decision on whether or not they're going to enter into the Granite Ridge Conference. It's likely that that's what's going to happen, meaning that they would leave our conference. I don't think you'll hear too many people miss the drive to Piers anymore. Basically, we've been working as a conference to assess what our options would be, and we have 2 schools that are interested in joining our conference, one being ACGC and the other one being Royalton. Obviously, ACGC is very close to us in proximity, and so that decision will be made by the superintendents of the 7 remaining schools, have a vote in that and decide that. And so we're still waiting on that meeting to be set. There's some discussion, and obviously every school has their own interest in how they would like to see the conference go. So
That would start in 2019, 2020?
yeah, we're under a short time frame. If it's going to happen, it's got to happen very soon because the fall schedules will be built rather shortly. So basically volleyball, the state has took football out of the equation, and so they give us that schedule, and then cross country would be simple to just add a team into it. But once you build that regular season schedule, it'd be hard. So yeah, we're in a short time frame for that. Anybody have any questions for me?
You've been doing baseline concussion testing on the varsity?
Yeah, so that has been something that Dr. Young's partner probably, boy, Mark might know the answer to this, is long before I've been the football coach. Right. He's been doing it and started doing that. All of our hockey athletes do it as well. Last year we did some of the volleyball players. We've had a gap in there. We were fortunate enough that a vast majority of the kids that played other contact sports also came through in football, and then we just didn't really have a whole lot of injuries. But the best part about this is they're going to test every kid. They're going to educate the students on the topic that they learn about in class anyways, and then if something would happen even in Phi-Ed or however, it would be something. So no, we haven't tested everybody. It's been something that we have been doing. It's something that some people have individually went in and done on their own as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
Buildings and Grounds Supervisor, Donnie. Hello.
Well, the update on our roofing system, I was up there today and talked to Horizon guys, and they're putting steel wall panels on and roof edge flashing. They should have that completed on the library, the 4 roofs over the library by the end of this week, if it doesn't, the rain doesn't hold them up. Then they will go to the middle school gym and finish that off, and all they have up there is flashing. The front entrance, like Max was saying, we put handicap controls on 2 doors. The only thing that's left there is I've got to install the locks in all the doors. I had to have them rekeyed, so I'll install them tomorrow, and that should be finished. We've got new sidewalk to the football bleachers, that's completed. I ended up with a new boiler inspector this year because we had changed insurance, and he's very thorough. So we end up, I haven't got the report back, but I know we got to replace 4 relief valves on the elementary school boilers due to age. Other than that, I think my custodial crew and maintenance crew did a fine job this summer. We're still putting a few rooms back together and moving furniture. Any
No, it does
questions?
look nice.
No, it looks good.
Yeah, looks very nice.
Thank you.
I did notice the new sidewalk going out through to the football stadium. Are you going to turn the
Nah, why?
stand around?
No, we hope to get that tomorrow. We're gonna have the skid loader out anyway, so we'll just flip it.
I thought that must be what was going to happen, but I just thought I'd ask.
Move it to the other side of the sidewalk so the people that are working in there can still see
They
the
have
game,
light
face
there,
that direction, just move it.
Yeah. Other than that, yeah, we're gonna work on the playground now, so.
So are they going to be done with the roofs? Are they going to be done with the roofs by the time kids come back into school or
Not
no?
not the middle school roof, but that shouldn't bother too much. It's just
Shouldn't?
the steel work up there.
Okay.
The rest of the pounding is done, so
Good, all right.
other than that, we're in good shape.
Thanks, Donnie.
Any other-
Thanks, Tony.
Committee reports. Anybody have anything?
I believe so.
All righty. Old business. A, district goals.
So let's just take a look at this a little bit. Last month, we did talk about fabrication lab and makerspace. Just want to make you aware, we're going to deal with this as an agenda item too, but there's a YST grant, which is a youth internship grant, that right now Paynesville, BBE, and New London Spicer are having conversation about how potentially that might work with our systems and what that might look like. So that's something we'll talk more about it as we get further into the agenda. The other thing that's in there is it's called CAPS programming. CAPS is an organization that was founded out of Kansas City, Missouri. And it is linked to career pathways and college credits. And they have an entrepreneurial wing of their program. And so I've started kind of exploring CAPS because I'm kind of hitting roadblocks with CEO. And we talked about CEO a month or so ago. And my conversations aren't getting anywhere, and we aren't big enough to do a CEO program on our own. And so I'm going to go down this road with CAPS. Alexandria High School is very involved with CAPS. Hutchinson High School is very involved with it. And they're starting to get a little bit bigger footprint in Minnesota. And so this might potentially be an alternative to CEO, but it's in its infancy stages, and it's something that I'm just kind of working on the side right now. It's not anything that I can, tell you I would have a plan or anything to you in the future, but it's something that I'm tinkering with. If you want to Google CAPS, Kansas City, Missouri, you'll be able to read up on the program and stuff. But just so you're aware, it's something that I'm tinkering around with, and as more promise potentially comes, it will come back to this group.
Okay. Policy review cycle.
So this was a leftover from my 6 o'clock deadline that I really thought we were going to make, and then we didn't. So the spreadsheet has all of our current district policies, and the first tab just shows you exactly when they had board approval. The next tab on there This breaks down by each series. So the 100 series, all those policies set out by MSBA, anything that has a 100 series that has something to do with the official entity of the school district. 200 governs the school board, 300 right now is vacant, there's nothing. 400, that governs employee and personnel. 500 is students. 600 is educational programming or instruction. 700 would be non-instructional operations. 800 building and sites, and then 900 is community relations. So what I've done here is I've gone through and just put this in a spreadsheet for you so you can look at the policies that we have in place and you can get very quick data on it. Is the policy mandatory by statute? Y means yes it is, and means no it's not. Is there a review requirement? So if you read through any of these policies, when you get towards the end of it, there's usually action steps that are associated with the end of a policy. And those action steps sometimes will say something like, this policy has to appear in the student handbook, or the Board of Education has to review this policy annually. And so that's what those review requirements are. And then the last thing is just the date that MSBA released an update to these policies. So this is just kind of a reference sheet for you. You go to the next tab that's titled Annual Review, and you can look at this, and there are 9 policies right now that the Board of Education needs to review on an annual basis, and they're listed here. So these 9 policies you will see during this school year, and you'll see them every subsequent year as well. It is your legal obligation to review these policies on an annual basis. So the last tab is actually what I'm recommending you guys approve as a review cycle. And what I've done here is just try to break this up into manageable work, is all I've really done. So I have broken it into a 3-group situation. What that would ensure is over the course of 3 school years, all policies in the district would be reviewed. I think that's reasonable. I think that's fair. I think there's also circumstances where the legislature is going to make changes, and it's going to cause a policy to come outside of its cycle. There's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely allowable. But right now, I think it's easy sometimes to approve a policy, and then all of a sudden, time goes by, and you all of a sudden are 10 years down the road, and you've never even taken a peek at it. This at least would ensure that every policy in the district is reviewed by the Board of Education every 3rd year, which I think is something that is a very reasonable expectation. I did try and take it a little step further to look at kind of workload and what this means. So realistically, for instance, if you took Group 1, that would be this year's task. We would start and we would have 4 policies that would be reviewed in October. My hope would be we would have a policy committee meeting before the first meeting in October, the first reading of the policy at the first full board meeting in October, with second reading and approval at the second full board meeting. So when I say October 18, those 3 steps need to happen for those 4 policies. Then there would be 5 policies in December, 5 more in January, and then finish the year with 3 in March. And that roughly is the schedule every year. So we could really kind of pencil in October, December, January, March. We would just get into the routine of the board has policy work to do in those months. Questions or thoughts?
My thoughts is it's excellent. I think we need to do that. I think it's just a great way of keeping us on task and making sure that we review the policies on a regular basis, and it's not that they sit out there for a period of time and we get lost in the shuffle and stuff like that. So I think it's just a great policy or procedure to go through.
And it helps me as much as it helps you.
Yes.
It gives me some organization as well and some direction.
My question might be just a little different. So I've been on the policy committee, and some of us have been on that will say that, but some of the policies are really big. Included in those policies are a whole bunch of these little policies. Does that analysis ever come in? So when we're, say, reviewing for a month, if it's part of a whole bunch of policies that we already did, do we coordinate that, or are they so separate they got to be all independent?
I think the one thing that sometimes happen is there's references to other policies. So for instance, the big ones that are going to get referenced are going to be student discipline, because the student code of conduct one is in there. You'll see in a variety of different places, they reference violations in the student code of conduct. The other one is the bullying prohibition, hazing prohibition policies. Both of those policies are referenced regularly in other policies. But outside of those three, I don't know that there's a lot of frequencies.
I can think of. It's kind of like it's written up twice, and we've talked about that. It's like it's duplicate work.
Yes, those three you will see referenced in a variety of different places. And if I remember right, I believe all three of those are on the annual review cycle as well. Those are, by statute, the board is obligated to review those annually. So, it would be my recommendation to approve this cycle, and then just know we're going to get started, and you can see right here what 4 policies will be on the docket for October.
Then that'd be easy, then the people that are on the policy committee can start looking at that and start looking at it before it's all of a sudden, here, these are the policies we're going to look at, and then now you have to make a decision of what you want to do with it, so.
Do you want a motion to approve the cycle? So move.
Okay, I got a motion from Bruce.
Second.
Second from Cheryl. Any other further discussions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and carried. Okay, going on to new business. The Verizon contract.
I have some bad news. So I received a phone call, this was probably 3 weeks ago, from a Verizon representative who had called me to indicate that the lease that was agreed upon was not executed by Verizon. And I said, okay. I said, I'm new, I know a little bit about the lease, but why don't you tell me a little bit more? And so he went on to explain how Verizon Corporate had decided that these small area antennas that they want to put around, like they want to put 2 of them in our parking lot to boost their signal, corporate had made a decision that they would cap contracts at $300 per antenna. Anything above that $300 threshold, just simply, they tabled, they would not approve, they wouldn't sign off on. So I had a lengthy conversation with him, and I said, it's a little ironic, because the conversation at Paynesville area schools is, we would really like to see internet in our school buses, and we were really thinking one of the things we could do with your proceeds from this lease is we could turn around and enter a contract with Verizon to provide wireless access points for our school buses. And he admitted that it did seem kind of counterproductive. I said, were going to give us $3,000 for the contract, but I can assure you the whole $3,000 was going to come back to you, and it literally would have cost you nothing. And he got all that. The bottom line is, his message to me was, they will not approve a contract over $300. So I told him to send me the contract. He did. The contract is here, and obviously I have thought about this, and it's a catch-22. They will only pay $300. We had thought we had an agreement in place that they were going to pay $1,500 per access point. We obviously had a plan for the revenue that was going to come in. We know that revenue is not coming in anymore, but at the same time, our community also would benefit from the booster antennas. So I guess at this point, what I know we can have or get out of a lease from Verizon is $300 per access point for $600 annually. It's not what was intended, but at the same time, our community would certainly benefit from having those access points located in our community. So it would be my recommendation to approve it. I don't really know if the board chooses not to approve it. I don't necessarily know what the recourse or alternative is for us, nor do I think there's a competitor out there that we could potentially get anything out of either. So not ideal news, but at the same time, I guess we're $600 ahead, hoping we would have been $3,000 ahead.
What is the downside to putting these in?
And that's just it. Really nothing. The downside is, in our minds, we're out $2,400 because we thought we were going to get $3,000 and now we're only getting $600. That's the downside. There's a little heartburn with that.
Do they have to put in different poles?
Yes, they need to put in different poles, but then those poles and lights go right back up. We don't incur any cost for them to take the poles down and put the new poles and lights on.
Are these poles going to be, but they'll be something comparable to what we have?
I think they'll actually probably be better than the current 2 poles that are out there.
Well, I don't think we're out anything, because we never had anything to start with, so.
But that's it. In our mind, we had $3,000, but we never had $3,000.
You never counted before you get it.
Yes.
So,
But do we have these boosters? So if you're gonna put them in, did we have them before too?
No, that's what they're putting
So this is
in.
all brand new?
Yep.
So what's the benefit to the school for this?
Well,
Access for the kids,
I think it's a combination. Obviously, the boosters will boost the Verizon signal around them. So yes, since it's located on high school property, it will boost the Verizon signal here. But I also think there's segments of our community that are also going to see an increase in their Verizon signal due to those antennas.
so if we're spending money for kids' education, and this is for everybody, why do we have to pay for it?
we're not.
We aren't paying for
We're not-
anything.
Well, you said it might cost $2,400.
No.
No.
$300.
We thought we were getting $1,500 per booster in the lease payment, that they were gonna pay us that, and they were gonna install 2 of them. So we were under the impression that Verizon was gonna approve it and send a check for $3,000 to us. Well, now they're gonna approve it if we agree, but the check's only gonna be $600 that we're gonna get, not $3,000. So it doesn't cost us a penny. It's just we don't get the $3,000 we thought we
So
had
they're
agreed
kind of
to.
renting our space.
Yes, it's a lease.
Yep.
Yes.
I gotcha.
So if they decide not to continue the lease, do the poles come out?
No,
Okay.
no, they're ours. Yep.
Because then it would cost us something to put them back
Yeah,
in.
no, the poles are ours. Yeah. Like I said, I recommend we approve it. I mean,
I don't see a
we aren't out anything, and it doesn't cost us anything. And we get 2 Verizon boosters in town.
$600. I'll
And
move that we
$600.
approve the Verizon contract for
Thank you, Rick.
$600.
Okay, so I got a motion from Rick and a second from Lou. Any other further discussions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and carried. I should have asked if was there anybody in the public that wanted to make a comment about it. Sorry. Next one you can do, the bakery bids.
We received 1 bid from Pan of Gold, and they were the same provider that was here last year. I would recommend that we approve the bakery products.
So moved.
Got a motion from Lou,
A second.
second from Cheryl. Any other further discussions?
Any change in the price?
Oh, you know what, I had a note to that, and
Yes, so it was, but it wasn't very substantial.
Okay.
I think on most of them, probably less than 5 cents.
I was assuming that on your recommendation that we approve, you were
You would've said
comfortable
so.
with where the pricing came in.
yes, I was comfortable with where the pricing comes in, and it was also our only bidder. So if we would like to have bread for lunch on Tuesday, I would suggest we approve it.
Does anybody have any comments about that? All right, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and carried. Business office.
I just wanted to talk with the board a little bit about the business office. So we are anticipating a retirement in March in the district office. It's something that I really look at, and I think we have 3 options. And I think all 3 need to be explored. The first one is we can post and hire for the existing position, leave the existing structure, and go forward with that, and look at simply rehiring for the position. That's an option. The second one is I think we could pursue or at least see what kind of interest is out there to have some sort of shared service. I know, and BBE has talked with me recently, that they are interested in potentially sharing a business management position, business manager position. So I think that that is something that we could explore as well. I know previously there were a couple board members that did meet with some board members from BBE, and that's something that conversation could certainly continue. The third option is I think we can also look at potentially hiring our own business manager and potentially looking at all the services that we're currently providing and what would it look like if we decided to, rather than having that bookkeeping position, it would be a business management position. I think those realistically are what the three options that are out there, and I think all of them need to be explored and kind of vetted to see really what makes sense, what meets our needs, and what is a combination of meeting needs and fiscal restrictions, and how those all come together to come up to an end path. I know that BBE would like to continue conversations where those left off. So if that's something that this board wants to continue to explore, I would ask if we could identify a couple board members that would be willing to continue that conversation. And in the meantime, then, I would also be doing the legwork on the other two options so that then the board would be able to evaluate all three options and really kind of make a decision as far as what course you guys feel is the best direction that we should go. Timelines with this. Obviously, that bookkeeping position is critical in our district. Mm-hmm. It is an absolute mission critical piece of what goes on at the district office. And it's a unique position because, yes, we have a bookkeeper, but we really have 3 district office employees that really work well. Mm-hmm. And so it's not like a traditional maybe bookkeeping position because you have 3 people that are, it's interesting to watch. I mean, they work well together and they pick up different components of the role. So I guess I would like to see something, a direction decided by November, with the idea that then we could really make a commitment to where we're going in December, and then be able to take January and February as really the opportunity to figure out what that's going to look like, and if there's someone coming on board, even an opportunity to work with the existing person to train in and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it's not urgent in the matter that we need to address this today, but I do think if we are interested in the shared services, I think we need to get those conversations moving so that we can really get an idea of what the cost and what that structure would look like and really determine if that's going to meet our needs. And then at the same time, I can work on the other 2 options because obviously those are options that would just include our district, and it would be where we would be partnering with another district. So, thoughts?
I think that we should look, we need to plan for this, and I like the idea that it's coming up so early so you're not trying to figure it out at the last minute kind of thing. I think discussions with sharing, I think there's a fair amount of merits to sharing. I can't believe 2 school districts will operate exactly the same. So you have a benefit of sharing of stuff that we might not run into that shows up, or prevention of things that happen. So that's just the way I look at the sharing thing. I kind of like that. And I think it deserves a look at all of them. But I personally think we need to get on it and not try and figure something out in October for a quick meeting in November. So that's where I sit on it.
I'd like to see information on all 3 options.
Okay.
Also, both financially and how it would work in the office, how the personnel would work together.
Sure. Okay. So I believe in the past when, I thought, was it Mark and Bruce? Were you? Mm-hmm. I think Mark and Bruce in the past visited with BBE about this.
Right.
is the board okay with just having them continue that conversation? Because in order for me to really go through and provide you with my opinion of all three options, we need to get a better understanding of what a shared position looks like. You have two entities, and if our idea of sharing is different than their idea of sharing, it's not sharing.
Right.
And so I feel like we need to get them to come and have a conversation with us, or we need to go have a conversation with them so we understand that our idea and vision of this aligns with what they're thinking would work on their end. And then if that's the case, I guess I would prefer to have a couple of board members identified to be part of that conversation, but then I can actually do some costing and work with that if that's doable.
Because even with the sharing, there's another caveat to that too, with the retirement piece of her, or the individual that we're talking about, the potential share. And with that, how does that fit in with the people that are in the office right now? I mean, we'd also need some sort of direction. If that's gonna work, then how is that gonna work on with the...
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of moving pieces to it.
Right, that's what I mean. When we were sitting there talking about, there's a lot of moving pieces.
So both entities have to clearly understand what this shared position is.
And what it will do.
And equally what the shared position isn't.
Right.
And I don't feel like it's something that I should just be having that conversation. I think I should have a couple board members hearing the same conversation.
Bruce and Mark, are you willing to do this, to continue? You've
I'm
already
okay
got
with
this.
it.
You've
Yeah.
got the groundwork done. I think that would, my position is it would be an excellent move to have you two continue.
Yeah, we met a couple individuals that are on the board from there, and, I mean, we parted, civil, so, I mean, I think we have a good understanding where each other are coming from, and their angst too. They're just in the same boat that we are. We're just gonna be seeing it sooner than they are with the leaving of that person.
Yep. So if that's okay, I would like to proceed with that, and then what I will do is I will get what my idea of sharing is on paper, and that can be a basis for a meeting with BBE. So let me move forward with that. Bruce and Mark, I will email you as far as a date. The last time I talked with BBE, obviously, the first and second week of school, they kind of want to let things get settled in, as do I. And then probably looking at third week of September is when we're looking at trying to get together. Okay?
Yep.
Excellent.
Perfect, thank you. D, youth internship grant opportunities.
Okay, so this is an interesting opportunity. It's through the Minnesota Department of Labor. And the interesting thing about this, they're awarding $100,000 grants is what they are, they're putting together. And what it is entailed is it's really targeting 16 and 17-year-olds and trying to put coordinated internships in the manufacturing industry together for 16 and 17-year-olds. As I stated earlier, BBE and New London Spicer are interested in doing this. I have indicated that yes, Paynesville is interested as well. We did meet. Each of us identified 2 to 4 manufacturing businesses in our communities that we would go talk with about this grant and see if they have some interest in pursuing this with us or being a business partner for us. Interestingly, the day after we met, there was a Central Minnesota Workforce Center meeting that the state was visiting about this, and some of the manufacturing partners that we identified the day previous were at that meeting as well and are very interested in pursuing this. So I think we will have business partners on board with this. The 3 school districts are certainly on board. This round is concentrating on the manufacturing industries. I am hearing rumors through the grapevine that the next round is going to be on the health and human services industry. So our hope here is that we could get, the 3 of us could get together and establish a working relationship where we could potentially get a manufacturing industry grant funded with the idea that we would turn around again about a year from now and submit for a health and human services grant as well. So Unless the board has some compelling reason why we don't want to pursue youth internships for our students, I will continue working on this. Don't be surprised if about a month from now, I am coming back to you and asking for you to issue a letter of support for this grant. I believe the deadline, the submission deadline, I want to say is like November 1st or something. So we have a little bit of time here to get everything in order. But yeah, it looks very interesting, and it's really kind of right in that wheelhouse of what that CTE work group has really been talking about a lot when that group has been meeting. So I think it's a logical thing for us to grab onto.
Always great opportunities, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the nice thing about it is the opportunities are there if you have partners outside of your entity.
Right.
If you're looking to do something on your own, there's not a lot of places that want to fund anything like that.
No.
But if you're willing to partner with school districts or partner with private industry, I think there's a fair amount out there, and I think it's only going to increase.
I agree.
So do you need something from us to move forward, or can you just run?
Right now, we're just in the infancy stage with drafting the grant. I think once we finalize the grant, that we will be back asking for a letter from each of the 3 Board of Educations.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. E, scheduled upcoming meetings.
We have 2 of them that we need to schedule. I would like to get a work session for the board on Monday, September 17th, 5 o'clock PM. That is where we would kind of talk about the goals more. I can fill you in kind of about the process about that. But I think we can also spend some time on a potential facility project that evening. And I think we can also spend some time on budget and kind of overall finances as well. I did hear from Randy. He did let me know he wasn't going to be here, but he did say that Monday, September 17th did work for him, if it worked for the rest of the board members.
It doesn't work for me.
It doesn't, okay?
2 days out of the whole year that I actually have to be out of town at meetings, and it's one of
You
those.
actually have to work.
Yeah, I do have to work on some.
Only twice a day in a year.
Well, it's the only time I have to be out of town.
Oh, I thought it's 2 times a year that you have
Most
to
time I
work.
can always finish
I want
early
his
enough
job.
to get here.
Could we look the next week on Monday, the 24th?
Fine with me.
Either one works for me.
Works?
That
Lou?
evening works.
Yeah,
As far as I know, yeah.
excellent. That's a great answer, Lou.
School year. You're so
I'll let you
busy.
know the 24th.
Let me know on the 23rd. Perfect. Okay, let's schedule that. Monday, September 24th, 5 PM. We will meet in a place more comfortable than this. It will be in the high school. I don't know exactly what the location is, but we will get that out, and we'll plan on meeting 5 PM on the 24th for the work session. So then we need the policy committee to get together. And so that would be Rick, Bruce, and Cheryl. Cheryl has a conflict with the evening of September 10th, but the day, sometime during the day, Cheryl, fill me in here, the
During
day
the week.
works,
Yep.
the evening didn't.
Evening does not.
So I'm wondering about Bruce and Rick on September 10th.
It's a Rosh Hashanah, I don't know. But I think I can miss that one year.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, well, otherwise, yeah, sure, I can make it.
Are you sure you betcha?
Yeah, you bet.
September 10th, you said?
Yep.
Yep. I'm kind of good there. What time are you thinking?
Well, I'm wondering, could we do a lunch meeting?
Sure.
Yeah.
So could we do like 11:30 on Monday, the 10th?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay? And then I will have some lunch as well for you guys. And that will be at the district office. So then if we could just have a motion and a second to approve the September 24th and the September 10th upcoming meetings.
I got a motion from Lou,
Second.
second from Rick. Any other further discussions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, and carried. That's it. Lou?
Motion to adjourn.
A motion from Lou,
I'll second.
second from
Since
Cheryl.
Randy's not here.
Any other further discussions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, and carried.